We get started, we're going to have the singing of our anthems, and those are going to be done by Afua Mong Adu.
Please rise. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Amen.
I told Afua she has a beautiful voice and she's wearing that chocolate, you know? Thank you, and welcome to Brooklyn Borough Hall, your home. And it's a place that I'm hoping that you use as often as possible. And you have to say things over and over again before it starts to resonate and people believe it. I am not elected to be served. I'm elected to serve. I want to serve the people of the borough. And I don't have it twisted. This is not about me. This is about the continuation of our experience. And I think sometimes when we have these events, the heritage events that we have the opportunities to have here in Borough Hall, that reminds me of my days when my first job as a mechanic, You know how your car runs, but you don't know some of the internal mechanism, and there are two gears inside that in order for the car and the vehicle to run smoothly, the two dots must line up. And from time to time, once mileage is on the vehicle, those dots have a tendency to become misaligned. And you go in for a tune-up to get it lined again so you can move throughout the year in a smooth fashion. That's where we are. This day of celebrating the African American and the Caribbean diaspora experience is our opportunity to realign ourselves. After a year of a journey, of a year of going through bumpy roads and twists and turns, we have moments when we need to have a period of reflection. But it's more than just those of color, and I say it over and over again, the experience of struggle is not something that one particular group or ethnicity has the patent for. All over the globe, people have experienced pain and struggle. And when we look at our experience, it should help us reignite the energy and the emotions that come with appreciating the experience of others. Early Chinese building the railroad system in America, unable to ride on those same trains. Early Jews who still had the stench of Nazi Germany burnt flesh in their nostrils coming to America to eke out a way to live. Early Caribbean Americans who left family members at home to come to America and participate in the American dream. And early Hispanics, some of the elders of the Hispanic generations, unable to speak English, but had to navigate government and ensure access to it. And even today, look at some of the African Americans who picked cotton and couldn't wear the clothing of the cotton that they were picking. And now that we look at the Muslim community, some of them are demonized merely because the numerical minority among their groups are using and abusing their religion for despicable actions. We need to embrace those who want to worship in peace and not abuse their religion. I don't believe people should be demonized based on the small number of people who want to abuse what religion stands for. We cannot push our Muslim brothers and sisters into the shadows or embarrassment of being part of the American dream. The American dream should not be a nightmare for any group. No one knows that better than people of color who have endured what it is to be in a nightmare in America. And that's what we are as we honor our small businesses. The businesses who are here have played a major role in ensuring that our communities continue to grow and to thrive. That's the role we want to accomplish here in Borough Hall. We're in a good place, Brooklyn. And I know that I'm the first person of color to be borough president, but it's not about creed, it's about deed. If all I bring to Borough Hall is a black face in a high place, then I did nothing of significance. We are on a serious journey. It's a continuation. I talk about the movie I purchased for my son long ago, but I really bought it for myself, Harry Potter. I enjoy watching it, Monique. Because there was something about that movie. Each sequel was as good or better than the previous sequel. And that's where we are. The sequel of Sojourner Truth gave way to the sequel of Rosa Parks, gave way to the sequel of Dr. King, gave way to the sequel of Charles Rangel and Mayor Dinkins, and gave way to the sequel of President Barack Obama. Every sequel continuation. And the beauty of that sequel is that they did not have to live to see the completion of the next level of the sequel. They ensured what they did would inspire and continue the sequel from continuing. So I'm just a continuation of that sequel. The curtain has risen, and the question lingers over, what am I going to do when I stand on the full stage of life? Am I going to have a production that's reflective of those who laid the sequel before me? That is the question, and I want to change that question into an exclamation point that I'm going to do the best I can as Borough President so that those who come after me will have a sequel that's just as powerful and just as strong. That's the goal that I must accomplish as Borough President. But we don't do it alone. There's a reason the Oscars and the Academy Awards have all those different lists of people who come on the stage. So too do we have lists of people in the stage of life. Everyone may not have the star on their door, but there are a lot of co-stars, and a lot of production managers, a lot of screenwriters, a lot of playwrights, a lot of people who contribute to who and what we are. I am not who I am because I'm the best. I'm who I am because I'm blessed. People have prayed for me and ensured that my journey was forceful and realistic. And let me tell you something, I'm the symbol of the black experience. Because there's nothing special about me. I was a solid D student in a good year. But I tell people over and over again, there are a whole lot of A students that can't call themselves borough president. So don't give up on our children. Don't look at where they are. Meet them where they are and take them where they ought to be. There's some greatness that are among them that are probably on the wrong road right now, and they need us to take them on the right road. I was telling a group of athletes that we had here yesterday about my difficult years, even as a young person, when I began to stumble and fall. And my coach grabbed me one day, and after I was arrested, and he looked me in my eye, and I put my head down, and he placed his hand under my chin and raised my head up so I could look him in the eye. And all he said was, "Eric, you're better than this. You're better than this." And each time I begin to make errors, I think about what he said. And we are better than what we're seeing in our communities. We're better than young people carving highways of death with 9mm bullets. Better than young girls giving their bodies away to people who are not desirous or appreciative of them. We're better than what is being displayed. And I want to ensure that we know that every day. I want to place my hand on the shoulders of people who believe that throughout their lives they were told that they would never be any good. I want to tell them they're better. They're better. That's the role of Borough President. That's why we open these doors to everyone, so people can come in and see that this is their building, and they have the opportunity to use this courtroom and the marble floors and the wood and everything that it possesses so they can be a part of it. And so I thank you for blessing us with your presence. I thank you for stopping me on the train sometime and just praying for me. I thank you for spending many countless nights watching me and stating that, God, let this young man be all right so he can finish his journey. We just begun. We have 7 more years to go, and someone's going to replace me, and then I will replace Bill de Blasio as mayor. So we have a journey. We have a lot to accomplish. We got a lot to do. 7 years from now, we won't be doing this in Borough Hall. We'll be doing this in City Hall. You know? And if you believe it, claim it. When I leave my fingerprints on, my hands on something, I'm not just leaving my fingerprints, I'm leaving my faith. And people say over and over again, how did you get so far? I say, you got to pray, Negro, pray. Got to pray. No one understands that more than our keynote speaker tonight. Visionary. Understood the beauty of Bedford-Stuyvesant. You know, I think of that song, Monique, used to be my girl. A lot of folks are upset with what's happening in Brooklyn because when Brooklyn was your lady, you didn't appreciate her and you left her. You decided to move to Long Island or to other areas. You didn't appreciate how attractive she was. But you saw it, Monique. You saw it and understood. Helen Keller says the only thing worse than not having sight is to have sight and lack vision. You saw what we can do, the beautiful brownstones and beautiful mansions we have in Bedford-Stuyvesant and all throughout Brooklyn. Don't let Brownsville and East New York get away from you, because she's as attractive as Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, Dumbo, Park Slope, and all other places. Monique was an anchor in the borough of Brooklyn. When you are attempting to rebuild the team, you find yourself a marquee player, and you build the team around it. When she built Aquaba Mansion, the entire community built around it, and we were able to see what Bed-Stuy had to offer. This is a great visionary that we have. We are blessed to have her in our midst. We're blessed to hear her pearls that she's going to drop on us. And some people may not understand what she says, because I've learned that our intellectual digestive system is not really ready for solid food. Some folks are still dealing with liquid food. But you are going to bring folks to the level that they ought to be. So please give your hand for Monique as she comes to the podium right now. 。 . 。  . 。 . . . . 。 . 。 . . . 。 . . . . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . 。 . 。 . 。 .
Oh, my goodness.
。 . .
Oh, my goodness.
Well, Reverend Adams, I want to thank you for your inspired words and for your vision and for seeing what's going to happen in another 7 years. Amen? Amen. All right. I am delighted to be in your midst tonight. You should see what I can see from here. Give yourselves a hand because y'all look good. Amen. I am just humbled by the presence of those who will be recognized later in a few minutes for being in business for 20 years or more. That's major. That's major. This is our 20th anniversary as well at Aquaba Mansion. And 20 years ago, people looked at me as if I had 3 eyes when I said I wanted to take what the kids called the haunted house and make it a bed and breakfast. And I had 3 eyes, just like the rest of these entrepreneurs, because that third eye is the eye of vision. It's the ability to see the possibility. And as you go along your journey in everything in life, not just in business, there are going to be times when you hear no, no, and no. And every time you hear no, I look at that as if it's a vitamin. You just take it and you get stronger and you come harder. And that's how we do in Brooklyn. Everybody thinks I'm from Bed-Stuy. I'm from Washington, D.C. That's where my mother gave birth to me, in Washington, D.C. But truly, I was born in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I came to Bed-Stuy and to Brooklyn on a house tour because I came here after college and I thought that New York was New York City, Manhattan. I knew nothing about Brooklyn, had never been on the subway, and came to Brooklyn, went on a house tour, fell in love with the brownstones, but more importantly, with the brown people who lived in those brownstones. And decided that it's not enough to go to work in the city and come home to Brooklyn and not build what we have. And you're so right, because a lot of times we walk around and we see broken glass and we don't understand that that's diamonds. Walking on diamonds. And as business owners, how many people here are business owners? Let me see that. Amen. That's fantastic. Everybody should be a business owner, even if you have a job. Every single one. My mama and daddy, my mama used to say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You heard that before, right? See, we turn that around in business and we talk about multiple streams of income. It means don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because they can take the paycheck that they give you every 2 weeks, and it may not come the next week. So you have to have something else happening for yourself. So I've had 10 jobs always, and I wasn't born in the Caribbean. And it's so important. And then you have to understand that we come from a legacy of entrepreneurial greatness. That's where we come from. I watch our young people. In college, there was always somebody who did nails in the dorm. In the neighborhood, there was always somebody who was selling chicken dinners out the back door. Just come to the back, get your dinner. We know how to do this. Sometimes we don't think and dream big enough. The only fault that we have, we go, well, I just want to, if I could just, we got to think bigger, bolder, just like Madam C.J. Walker. Bigger, bolder. I almost stopped myself. Some of you know that we recently won a competition on Travel Channel. Anybody see that? Oh, it was so much fun. The show was called Hotel Showdown. And they called and they said, we'd love to have your bed and breakfast compete. And I said, well, we'll do that as long as we're competing against other bed and breakfasts. And at first they said, yes, that's the plan. And then I got the call, no, that's not the plan. You're going to be competing against hotels. They have 100 rooms, 110 rooms. You know how many we have? 4. And I said, oh, no, that doesn't work. That's not a level playing field. I can't compete. One of the categories was amenities. I thought they would have rooftop gardens and they'd have bars and spas. I have 4 rooms. And then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? They have something that I don't have, that's true. But I have something that they don't have. I, the owner, will open the door when the guest comes. I, the owner, will make them a home-cooked Southern-style breakfast every morning. I, the owner, will take them on walks through my neighborhood and show them the charm of Brooklyn. And that's what we did. We took them down to the local wine shop. We had some neighbors come and join them at breakfast. And we were all about not showing places, but people. Not showing a place where you can stay at night, but a place where you can have an experience that will stay with you. And so when it was time to open the suitcases, each one had one. They did the countdown. I opened it up and I couldn't believe it when I saw $25,000 sitting there. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, we won. We won. And that we is the collective we, right? Because as business owners, we all know that sometimes we get in a space where we may think that somebody else's ice is colder. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody will say, well, I tried to do business with y'all, and because something didn't go right over there 15 years ago, they're still looking and judging based on that. So I want to tell all of you who are consumers, that's all of us, don't make us jump higher than anybody else. We want to do right by you, but don't make us jump higher. Embrace, don't celebrate, don't hate, rather celebrate, all of those things. I always tell people, look, if there's something not quite right, don't call me out, just call me. Right? It is so critical that we encourage entrepreneurship. And what I found was that I'm so inspired by Pauline Barfield, who's one of your honorees, because she took my daughter when she was 8 years old. And when my daughter was 8, I was editor-in-chief of Essence magazine. I had the bed and breakfast. I had a Quabbin Cafe. You remember the restaurant? Y'all used to stand in line, eat me out of the house and home, Sunday brunch, all you can eat. I had Mira's Coffee House next door to the restaurant. I was writing a book. I had a husband. That was 2 jobs. And don't tell on me. And so, at that point, I realized that on my very long list of things to do, I didn't show up. And the other entrepreneurs here know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And so I had to make a very crucial decision. Something had to go. What would it be? And as much as I loved Essence, I was clear that I wasn't loving me. And I made the decision to leave the magazine. Why? Because we're talking about legacy building. Legacy building. I realized that 8-year-old girl child that I was raising, I could not leave her a job at somebody else's place. But I could leave her a real estate portfolio. I could leave her businesses that I was trying to build. And she could have the choice to run them if she wanted to. And that's why I decided I would invest. And you know what happened? She was at first ecstatic and hysterical. She said, how are we going to have food on the table and a roof over our heads? And I realized she was pushing the playback button, because that's what I would say to her every time I was the only mommy who couldn't make it to the class play or the trip. And I said, no, we will have food on the table. And guess what? We're going to eat it at the same time together. And she hugged me so tight, and I realized I had made the right decision. So as we talk about building business, we know that we come up with what's called a business plan. We need to have a plan, right? The business plan. But you have to make sure that that business plan meshes with your life plan. The two have to be in sync. And I'm always encouraging you to start where you want to end. So for me, I wanted to have a home that I loved in a city that I loved for each season of the year. And I couldn't figure out how am I going to afford to do that. So I thought, I'll buy these historic houses that look like haunted houses, I'll renovate them and restore them, I'll run them as bed and breakfast, I'll carve out a space for me, and then I'll go to each one for each season of the year. Therefore, you will be seeing me all the time in New York in the fall. But in the spring, I'm in Washington, D.C., at Aquaba, D.C., cherry blossoms. In the summer, I'm in Cape May, New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore, Aquaba by the sea. I hate to tell you that in the winter, I'm in the Poconos now. I don't ski. It wasn't the plan. But as we talked about those business plans, sometimes the best laid plans, amen, don't work out the way you think or want. So we invested in a bed and breakfast in New Orleans, Aquaba in the Bayou. We opened 2 weeks before Hurricane Katrina. And while our business didn't flood, the building didn't flood, the business drowned. And so we talk about the need to be able to make lemonade out of lemons. There's sometimes you make lemon meringue pie. That's what we had to do, even bigger. But then the next opportunity came. So sometimes it gets tough, my folks. It does. And you start to self-doubt. And then you remember that you have this delectable recipe. I call it my pea soup recipe for success. It starts with planning and preparation. You have to have the plan. Then it's passion and purpose. When you're passionate about something, you can't sleep at night, right? Your friends get sick and tired of hearing you talk about it because you are passionate. That will take you a very long way, and you feel like you are living on purpose. This is the mission. This is what you want to do. Patience and persistence. Patience. It may not happen overnight. It won't happen overnight. But persistence, every single day, if you've taken one step to get you further in the direction that you're trying to travel, you're on your way. How about positive people? So important. See, not everybody deserves a front row seat in your life. Right? Positive people. People who are going to believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. And then patting yourself on the back. Because we can tear ourselves down. I was doing it before I came here. I was like, oh, Lord, the shoes are too tight. It's like, okay, just put on something black. Just go. Get out the house, right? You have to put on not just your clothes, but your spiritual armor, right? Pat yourself on the back, because the rest of the world will do all the other stuff that you don't want to have happen to you. They'll take care of that part. Be good to you. So that's my pea soup recipe for success. And as you are doing for yourself, you're doing for your community, you're doing for your family, just make sure that you understand that at the end of the day, you have to give to yourself too, because you cannot give from an empty cup. You got to fill your cup first, then it can overflow. And at the end of the day, really at the end of the day, you're going to be asking yourself one question. During your time here on earth, did you make a mark? Make a mark. Don't leave a stain. Thank you for listening.
Nice little bed-style little gift box. Hey, come on, Robin.
My wonderful city councilman is here. Been so supportive, Rob Carnegie. Almost as tall.
Great.
Thank
you
you
so much. Say it, Robert. And our great city councilman, Robert is just a real, authentic, genuine, caring person. And I'm just so happy I'm serving in Brooklyn while he is the council person. Just an intellectual giant, and both physically and emotionally. He's a good friend, Robbie Carnegie.
So, good evening. So I cannot allow the evening to go without me doing what I always do, which is Bed-Stuy in the house? I'm sorry, Borough President. I know you're responsible for the whole borough. I just got Bed-Stuy in Crown Heights. But when I looked out, I saw a lot of faces that I was familiar with, a lot of business owners who are doing tremendous things and moving mountains. Eric is my friend, and I'm proud to call him my friend. but I'm here because I'm actually the chair of small business for the New York City Council. And the important thing about that is that I'm your friend. And in a little bit over a year, we've created some very unique, innovative, and sustainable programs that are changing the landscape of the way the city does business with minority and immigrant-owned businesses. And one that I'm very proud of is the Brooklyn Chamber here. Is Carlo here? Good, so I get to own this by myself. When I first got to the council, one of the first things I did when I got my chairmanship that I was excited about was I went around and I talked to small businesses. And I said, man, you know, down at SBS, they got all these great programs. And they said, Rob, we're a small business. I ain't got time to go down there. I'm working from sunup to sundown, doing everything in the business. There's only 3 employees. I can't send anybody down there, and I can't go. So that means I can't get anything. And I went back to the speaker and the commissioner of SBS. I said, man, it seems like my people are missing out on all of the great programs that you have. And she said, well, what do you propose? I said, I propose that we put all of those services that you have, the access to capital, the technical assistance, and we put it on an RV and we go directly to where the businesses are. And I said it kind of smirking because I'm only a freshman. I said, they must be thinking, man, this boy is absolutely crazy. Thank God I had a predecessor in our van who kicked down a lot of doors prior to me getting there. So they were accustomed to having doors kicked down by at least a 14 to a 17. So I got down there with my 17s and I was ready to do some door kicking. So what they did was they said, well, how much do you think this program would cost? And I said, well, between $250,000 and $400,000. And what you should know about the city council is this is the first year, last year was the first year within 20 years that any new initiatives were being considered. And I said, this is the new initiative, this is gonna work. You know, the governor said that New York State is open for business, but we don't feel it downstate, so how can we feel it? And so I went with this proposal. And the speaker said she liked it. She said, well, you can convince the other 50 members of city council, we'll do it. Man, and I got on my roller skates and I knocked on doors. I was running up and down the hallway at city council, knocking on every council member's door and telling them, listen, if you do this, you'll be a hero in your district if you bring these services to your district. And in September, which is incredible, the funding went in, and in September, the van rolled out. And to date, it's served over 500 businesses in the city of New York. And those businesses are businesses just like you. Because what we said was we didn't want it going where there was a merchants association or where there was a business improvement district. We wanted it to go in those remote places where I knew my people were suffering and struggling, where I knew that they couldn't get access to capital. So then I partnered with my council members. I said, listen, I'll tell you something. Whenever it's coming to your district, I'm going to tell you. And then you're going to go tell the businesses, and then you're going to go. So if it hasn't reached your district yet, I promise you it's coming. And then if that wasn't enough, I said, well, what's the next big thing that's happening to small businesses in the city of New York? They're being priced out. Commercial rents are driving them out of business, straight out of business. So I went to the mayor and I said, man, you got a really nice bunch of tenant protections for residential tenants. I said, my commercial tenants need the same protections. He said, Rob, I don't know about that. You know, it's difficult. It's capitalism. And I said, Mr. Mayor, if you do not, what you're doing inadvertently is changing the complexion of communities throughout this city and changing the integrity of this city by running small businesses out. So he didn't move as fast as I wanted him to move, so we put in some legislation. And right now, I'm waiting for that legislation to hit. And when that legislation hits, I'm going to need y'all to stand on the steps of City Hall with me to push for tenant protections for commercial tenants that will cover you. What I found, Borough President, what I found was the 2 businesses that stood out most to me was there was a restaurateur who came to me and he said that his landlord, twice a month, turns off the water saying that he's doing work on the plumbing. He said that twice a month makes it unable for him to meet payroll. In under a year, he'll be out of business. He said that seems like it's illegal. It's not illegal, but there was no protection for that. Then another owner came to me and he said, Rob, I've had a scaffold in front of my business that covers my sign for 3 years. People don't even know I'm here. So we put together another bit of legislation that protects from the harassment of landlords. We know about harassment of residential tenants, but nobody's protecting from the harassment of commercial tenants. And those things are forcing things out. So I started by saying what I want to end with, that you have a friend and an advocate for as long as they're going to let me do it at City Council, which if I keep at this race, it ain't going to be much longer. And lastly, I just want to talk very briefly about my relationship with Monique Greenwood, who came to me with a very serious concern about bed and breakfasts and how the city was regulating or not regulating them and what they were doing with sending inspectors in and really trying to inadvertently run them out of business. And, you know, me and Monique both from Bed-Stuy. And when Monique comes and put that at your feet, she wasn't really asking for me. She had a reasonable expectation that as a council member, I was going to stand up for her and other bed and breakfasts across the city of New York, and that's what we did. And right now, we are proposing legislation that would carve out, you know, everybody's seen this big Airbnb campaign to stop Airbnb. And what they didn't do was carve out for the good, hardworking bed and breakfast owners who pay their taxes, who do what they're supposed to, and who are an integral part of what this city's landscape is like. They bring business into the outer boroughs. They support businesses that are located close to them. Monique, what she didn't tell you was when she took her walks, when she was campaigning to win this prize, she went to local businesses and highlighted those businesses. Those businesses were on television. Wine Therapy has certainly gotten a boost in business because they are on national television. So her simply being in business has meant a lot to the businesses that are ancillary to her business. And if not for advocacy and protection, they would run her directly out of business, which we will not stand for, and we won't stand for that with any of your businesses. So you should know that you actually literally may not know me personally, and those of you do know I'm a friend. And I'm a friend to small business, and with my last breath, I'm gonna make sure that not only can you survive, but that you can thrive and grow. When I took this office, the first thing I did was I got a copy of the Hippocratic Oath, which the first line of it says to do no harm. And I showed that to the commissioner, and I showed that to the speaker, and I showed that to the mayor. And I said, that's what our premise should be. That's what my premise from this office will be, is that we'll do no harm. And so we're fighting to make sure. And I know you haven't felt it yet. And I know some of you are struggling, but you have an advocate and you have somebody who's gonna work hard on your behalf to make sure small business grows in the city of New York. So thank you.
We're going to now bring up our honorees, and Robert, we'll let Lori do the flow. We're going to stand over here in the middle so we can take some photos. Thank you. You know, you're not a politician, we like taking pictures.
No, not me.
So I'm the shortest person in the room tonight. What we're going to do, all of our nominees, just one thing I would like to say, everyone who's receiving an award tonight, for those who've been in business 20 years or more, you were nominated by your community boards, your business improvement district, your friends, your family, your churches, and I just want to applaud all of you for a job well done. Our first honoree is Barbara's florist, Mr. Fred Powell. And what I'm going to do is read the first proclamation. I'll read the first two paragraphs of the proclamation, of the citation, only because they're all the same. It says, whereas Brooklyn is home to the largest population of Black Americans in any county that is not a city in the United States, and it is a time-honored Brooklyn tradition to acknowledge the enormous contributions made by people of color to the economic, cultural, and social life of our borough, city, state, and country, it is only fitting that we pause to reflect during the nationwide observance of Black History Month on the profound influence of people of color and what they have had on the progress of our nation. And whereas it is a time-honored Brooklyn tradition to recognize and salute Brooklyn residents while highlighting local business establishments and organizations that contribute to the fabric and well-being of our borough and communities, we salute these exceptional individuals and their businesses and memorialize their commitment to excellence in maintaining the health of our borough. And this is signed by, of course, Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. Barbara's florist, Fred Powell, is one of the pioneers of the Interracial Council for Business Opportunity. His client list includes the YMCA, Bloomingdale's, and Macy's. Next, we have Pauline Barfield from Barfield Public Relations Incorporated. She brought her cheering squad. Councilman. Thank you. You can just fold it over. Barfield Public Relations has had 20 years of service in media relations, special events, grassroots, and mainstream marketing and public relations. Ms. Barfield is a board member of Medgar Evers College, the NAACP, and the Macon Street Block Association. The Black Success Barbershop, Antonio Field. All right, so East Brooklyn's in the house. We got Brownsville and East New York in the house too, not just Bed-Stuy. Okay. Antonio has led 23 years of business in Brooklyn, providing business in East Brooklyn, a nonprofit barbershop training. They do an outreach program for our youth. They provide gift certificates for free haircuts to the community. And Antonio, we thank you and those at Black Success Barbershop. Oh, is it? Okay. Here you go. Brooklyn Moon Cafe, Mike Thompson I haven't seen him. Okay, we'll give him a hand anyway. We'll get his. Brooklyn Moon has been around for 20 years. They're a restaurant that provides an old school vibe and makes you feel right at home. Next, we have Brownsville Bikes. Is Ya in the room? There he is. Here you go, Brownsville. Ja Hamed from Brownsville Bikes has provided 30 years of quality bike service to our community. He's donating bikes to local students who have achieved academic excellence in school. He's also participating in helping to attain the bike lanes in Brownsville. Okay. Next we have Charles Calypso City. Charles Ralston. Everybody knows Mr. Charles, the most dapper guy on Fulton Street. Charles Ralston has provided over 4 decades of Caribbean-themed music to our community. He offers not only records for sale, but a recording studio specializing in calypso music. Known for his generosity to the community, Mr. Charles is also the sponsor of an annual street festival. Charles Ralston, 40 years. Larita L.B. Brown from Clinton Hill Simply Art and Framing Gallery. There she is. Larita Brown has provided 25 years of service to the community, doing postcards, frames, and lithographs, hosting artist tours and talks. And the one thing, she offers 50% off on framing of children's artwork. So we thank you for that. Crossborough Business Services, Joyce Turner. Joyce Turner is the head of a family business, Crossborough Business Services, on Fulton Street in Bedford-Stuyvesant. They have provided over 50 years of real estate and professional services to the community. Joyce is the chair of the Bed-Stuy Gateway Business Improvement District, and she volunteered. That must have been Michael Lambert. And she's working on leading the economic growth within the community. Duncan's Fish Market, I'm not sure if they're in the building or not. Is Gervin Duncan in the building? I don't think he's here, but the Duncan's Fish Market has been around for 37 years, and we're going to make sure his citation gets to him. He's an active member of the Myrtle Avenue Merchants Association. Lindiwi Kamu, Expressions in Ceramics. Okay, so Expressions in Ceramics. Lindy is the president of the Nostrand Avenue Merchants Association. She offers artistic skills training for youth and adults, and she provides her students and clients with ceramic scholarships. Go Green, Wayne Miles. Go Green is a 30-year home and office cleaning service business, and they promote green environmental safety. And Wayne is also a founding member of the board of directors of the Atlantic Avenue BID, which is Business Improvement District. The Lawrence H. Woodward Funeral Home, which is the CEO is Melvin Thompson. But this is a family business that has been around for 46 years, and these are Melvin Thompson's granddaughters who currently work in the business. So this is a third generation running a family funeral home in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. They've served the community during their time of loss, and that's Nicole and Chanel. They also do estate planning, funeral packages, and they host the School Safety Explorers. Next we have Karen Smith, better known as Minnie the Clown. Now that's what Karen looks like with her clown makeup on. But today, we get to see the real Karen Smith. Karen has been entertaining our community for over 23 years. She does carnivals and magic shows. She hosts an annual backpack back-to-school giveaway, and she offers discounted rates to organizations and companies that request her services. Moshood Creations African Clothing, and they are modeling their wares. Everybody knows Moshood, right? Okay. Moshood has been around for 25 years, inspiring our African American community to embrace their culture. Well known throughout the world as the original and authentic fashion house, they actively participate in fundraising and fashion shows. Mr. Copy King Mark Arthur, I'm not sure if is he here? Oh, there he is, right there. Mark Arthur has provided 20 years of digital screen printing, embroidery, and media advertising to the community with discounted rates for printing services for nonprofit organizations. Terrence LaPierre and the Patriot Agency. Terrence LaPierre has provided 30 years of financial services to the community. He's been involved in the expansion of the dental suite at Kings County Hospital, and he is a member of the Community Advisory Board at Kings County. Next, we have Ms. Penda Aiken from Penda Aiken Incorporated. Penda Aiken has provided 25 years of employment services to the community, and she has a workforce of more than 450 professionals. She is a board member of the Neighborhood Improvement Group, the Teach to Excel, and the Early Advantage Charter School, and many more. John and Stephanie Monroe from Ruthie's Restaurant. I'm not sure. Well, Ruthie's Restaurant has been around for 24 years, and we will get their citation to them. The next one is the Gospel Den. I know Mrs. Long is not here this evening, but we will have maybe Michael Lambert.
I'll take it for
Oh. Okay, well, Robert Cornegie and
Mike said he'll take it.
Michael Lambert and Rob
I'm
Cornegie
here tomorrow, but
we'll take this for Betty Long. The Gospel Den has been around for 26 years, providing spiritual music and books. Betty Long is a longstanding member of the Brown Memorial Baptist Church and a supporter of our young gospel artists in the community. Timbuktu Barbershop and Hair Salon, Ashia Amin. Where is he? There he is. Timbuktu Barbershop has been around for 35 years, providing service to the community, free haircuts, dinners, and many other philanthropic contributions to the community. And this is two steps down. Yvette Renee and Rhonda Mayo. 25 years, Two Steps Down has been around providing service to our communities. They do private parties, fundraisers, and local functions. They also do daily preparation of food for a local daycare center and an after-school program. They feed homeless shelters, and they are contracted with PAL to provide food to the youth in school attendance. Jerry Eastman from the Williamsburg Music Center. We have hit, I just want to let everybody know, our nominees, our awardees tonight come from almost every part of Brooklyn. So that's one of the great things about this. So Jerry Eastman from the Williamsburg Music Center. There's Jerry. The Williamsburg Music Center was founded in 1981 to foster the creation, performance, and appreciation of American jazz. They offer classes and workshops in jazz history and performance, and Jerry hosts a bi-weekly jam session, spoken word, dance, and art exhibits for the community. And our last one, I'm not sure if Eddie Freeman is in the building. He's actually downstairs preparing something for everybody to eat for our reception. But this is for...
I'll take that too.
You'll take that too. So Sugar Hill Restaurant has been around for 36 years. You can go.
Thank you so much, and it is give all of our honorees a hand, all of our vendors, and you know how many of you, when you heard the bios, the short bios, you heard that many people were just doing things that were far beyond their call of duty. You know, delivering meals to free haircuts to giving back in the community. And, you know, that is what our goal was, to really reach out to those who are going beyond the call of duty, because the more you give back, the more you receive back. And so no one does that better than my great councilman. I want him to come and say hello, Councilman Jamani Williams.
What's up, Brooklyn? How's everybody doing? I'd like to be brief. Thank you to our first black borough president, Eric Adams. and congratulate him on this effort. And I gotta say, congratulations to all of the honorees, a special one to Mr. LaPierre, who hails from my district. I gotta give him a special shout out. I didn't read the whole list, so if I forgot somebody, I apologize. You're gonna be mad at me later, but I know he's from my district. I gotta give him a shout out. Thank you for coming out to celebrate Black History. Although Black History Month, I will live for the day when the month is no longer needed, and we celebrate all history all year long. But until then, we got to make sure that they remember us. Thank you so much, and Godspeed.
We also have two of our district leaders that are here. Did Corey leave? And Melba Brown, who's here. Stand up, Melba. Just always in the house doing right things. We also have one of the great youth leaders that's here. That's also he will be doing tomorrow a African Black History Month program that's going to be here. Reverend Lamar Whitehead. Thank you for what you're doing with the young people in our community. We want to hear from two of our sponsors before we go down and do some grub and some eating. We want to first hear from Gail Smith, Chief Customer Officer of Metro Plus Health Plan. Gail, every time we call on her, she's here helping out with these programs. Thank you so much, Gail Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, come on. This is a beautiful, beautiful occasion, and I'm really overwhelmed by not only you in the audience, but all of the business owners in Brooklyn, New York. So really, congratulations to all of you. So, to our first African-American Borough President of Brooklyn, Eric L. Adams, future Mayor of New York City. I'm on your team. Deputy Borough President Diana Reyna, elected officials, distinguished guests, honorees, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a pleasure once again. This is actually MetroPlus Health Plan's 12th consecutive year, so we've been through borough presidents, but I'm loving you. Our 12th consecutive year of being one of the sponsors of Black History Month. And Ron Law, who is our Intergovernmental Relations Director, and I have been doing this hand in hand for as long. My name is Gail Smith. I'm the Chief Customer Officer of MetroPlus Health Plan. We're located in New York City. We are the wholly owned subsidiary of New York City Health and Hospitals Corporation. So I heard about Kings County Hospital in the house, so I love that too. And by the way, I used to, when I got into healthcare, my first job was at Kings County Hospital, so that's a good thing. I'm not Bed-Stuy, I'm Ditmas Park, but I am all Brooklyn. And my husband is Bed-Stuy, so it's a good thing. Just about MetroPlus, as I said, we are the wholly owned subsidiary of New York City Hospital Corporation. We provide low-cost insurance and no insurance to those who have no insurance for Medicaid, Child Health Plus, our HIV Special Needs Plan, Managed Long-Term Care, the Affordable Care Act. I can go on and on. You need to come to MetroPlus. So we look forward to that. Now, I know that we've been celebrating about all of the good things that we have done as people of African descent, and I think that's something very, very important that we should do. And it's very true, too, that we should be doing it more than just for a month. But we still, hello, is something going on? However, I feel, though, that we cannot forget that we still have miles to go before we sleep. We've come a long way, baby, but we still are faced with senseless deaths of the Trayvon Martins, the Michael Browns, the Eric Gardners, the Tamir Rice, who was only 12 years old, and was shot down because he had a toy gun. These senseless deaths are occurring entirely too often to our Black youth and our Black men. That said, I challenge each and every one of us to embrace our diversity and work towards more meaningful dialogue in lieu of vitriol to make this world a better and safe place to live in for all. In unity, there is strength. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And Ms. Leslie Vasquez, Marketing Manager, Atlantic Wines. These are our sponsors, so let's give it up for them.
Good evening, everyone. Just like Gail, I have been a longtime sponsor of the celebration of Black History Month here at Brooklyn Borough Hall. So we've been through other Borough Hall presidents, and yes, we do congratulate the first African-American male borough president here in Brooklyn. I don't think there's a day, or I should say a year that goes by that I attend this and don't come or walk away from here inspired by all of the contributions that every single person in this room, including and congratulating all of the people who have been awarded with a citation from the Brooklyn Borough Hall president. Just listening to these stories and how you've managed to come from long journeys to sustain yourself within this borough throughout any trials and tribulations, and that we keep standing together has been incredible. I love to stand here and listen to everyone's story. A part of Atlantic Wines and Spirits, which our headquarters are here in the borough of Brooklyn, along with Diageo, our supplier. We have an organization within Diageo called the AHEAD Group, which is the African Heritage Employees at Diageo. And their mission is to make sure that we continue to drive diversity within these corporations. So there's a lot of work that goes behind behind those doors with that organization within the company to make sure that we continue to seek out our diverse African American, that we have a lot of talent in our neighborhoods and in our communities. And it's inspiring, Monique, to listen to your story. I think I was just sitting down and I'm just pondering on all the words that you said, and I think you helped me develop my third eye. As a mother of two girls and as a businesswoman as well, it's great to hear those words, because it makes you really think about what you leave, what your legacy will be to your children. One of the other contributions that we make to the celebration of this, earlier this evening, we donated a check in the amount of $5,000 so that we can support and continue to support the celebration of Black History Month. We are also responsible for donating all of the libations that you guys will enjoy this evening. Tonight, we have a wine, Trouvé wine, if any of you have heard it. The great thing about it is that we have the honor of having the winemakers with us this evening. And the reason why I brought these ladies with me this evening is because they are the first African American sisters to own a winery. They've had a very amazing journey. I'm gonna let them give you a brief story of their journey, of how they found each other as sisters and how they came to be. But I would love to, if you give a warm welcome to both Andrea and Robin McBride.
Thank you, and good evening. We are the McBride sisters. I am Robin McBride. This is my little sister, Andrea, my little, not so little, sister, Andrea, and we're here tonight with our wines, Trouvé Wines, along with our partners, Diageo and Atlantic, thank you. We're not your typical winemakers, you may have noticed, and we're actually not even typical sisters, I would say. We have a pretty interesting story about how we got into wine together and actually how we found each other. We both grew up not knowing about each other at all. We have the same father and different mothers, and we actually grew up on completely opposite ends of the planet. Andrea grew up in New Zealand, which is where her mother was originally from, and I grew up in Monterey, California. It's a really long story, so I'll try to keep it short, but we both grew up in wine country, and through serendipitous events, our father eventually passed away. We didn't grow up with him, didn't know him at all, but his family took it upon themselves to go and locate both of us and bring us together. So we're here today. We're here today all the way from California, with the spirit of entrepreneurialism. Again, not your typical winemakers, so I'm sure you guys can imagine we had a lot of barriers to break through to get here today with our wine, Trouvé.
So with that, I just wanted to share a little bit about our business story and how we got to where we are and the responsibility we carry as African American women winemakers. So we've been in the business 10 years. We own actually 2 wine companies now. And the achievement that Leslie mentioned to be the first African American sisters to found and own a wine company is something that we hold very dear and we see as not just our achievement. And just to give you a little bit of context to that, our grandfather, Ellen McBride, was born in 1885. Our grandmother, Litha McBride, was born in 1900. Our father was the youngest of 12, and they lived in Camden, Alabama, 30 minutes from Selma, about an hour from Montgomery. Do we have some people from the South in the house? What's up? And we wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for them. And I just want to say to all the entrepreneurs that are here tonight, you are our inspiration. We are only in business 10 years. We're the next generation. You all inspire us. We hope that in 20 years, and 30 years, and 40 years, we will still be around here, still be in business, and hopefully bringing up the next generation of winemakers, of grape growers, of viticulturists. We're super honored to be here tonight, and thanks so much.
Okay, so before we go downstairs to partake in our reception, I'm very glad many of you were able to go downstairs and visit the expo with all the new businesses. We want to support them. We want to visit them. We want to look at their websites, so please do. One of our vendors, Sublime Moments, they collected business cards and they have a raffle. And the first raffle is a private dining for 2, a gourmet meal created especially for your palate, prepared at your location, valid from March to June, by Terry Burress. Now, is Terry in the room or is she still downstairs? Oh, there she is. That's Terry. That's the private chef. Stand up, Terry. Okay. Nan, pick that. We'll let Nan Blackshear pick the winner for this one because she has on this pretty red jacket. And the winner is Frank Wharton, attorney and consultant. Frank Wharton. All right, Frank. All right, Frank. Terrific. So Frank is going to have a personal dining experience. And then we also have a gift basket. Nope, this one. We also have 2 gift baskets we would like to raffle off. You'll give it to Frank? Thank you. We like giving away things at Borough Hall. Sharon Garby, independent distributor at YL Therapeutic Products. Sharon, oh yes, how are you? And we have one more. Why don't you let Monique pick one? A terrific guest speaker. Thank you so much, Monique, for being with us this evening. Okay. Lindy, we come on. There she is right there, Lindy. She's an honoree and a winner. Good for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for coming out and celebrating Black History Month with us. A basket of Churray wine. Oh boy, we're just getting goodies as they come. Thank you very much. You want to let her pick the one. Yeah, this was downstairs at the expo. For those who came to the expo, you can put your name or your business card in the bowl. Al Florent from Corcoran. Who? Al? Is he still here? Oh, there he is. Al Florent from Corcoran has won the wine. You've won the wine. You want a case of wine? No, let it. Well, now you can go downstairs and taste, have a little wine. We have some food downstairs. Thank you all so much for coming, and thanks again to our honorees.